Okay, let's we've got to add the sheets. Basically, we've got to get it to look like that. And one thing we missed out from earlier on, I think, is this step here somewhere. Anyway, is to make it look like a shaded look on the floor plan. So let's do that. Not that it's important. Normally, actually, a floor plan will look more like this anyway, more like a technical drawing. But you can have a pretty one if you like. You can have a shaded look just by doing that. All right. So the other thing is just nothing to do with this really. And if we get around to doing manage, it'll probably be on here somewhere. But I can't see it in a hurry. But KS. Keyboard shortcuts, I think it's a drop down somewhere in here. I won't bother looking for it now, but KS, here we go. Okay, KS, I just type in K, S for Sam, keyboard shortcuts, says that up there. You can go in and create your own, so anything that hasn't got a, if you're doing stairs all the time, you can just assign a new key, or I suppose maybe a Control W perhaps, or Control S or something, or not Control S because that's probably safe. You know, so just try to make sure you're not using one that's already there. You can see here tagging a room, RT. So different shortcuts you can get to find out what they are. If you know, generally you know what they are because not unlike AutoCAD, I can go here and hang around on there. And WA is a wall architectural. Hang around there. There's no wall structural, so you might want to have a WS command, for example, for that one. And you go in the KS and do it. Anyway, that's digressing on that one. I thought I'd just quickly throw that in while I remembered. All right, so really that belong to the miscellaneous commands. Okay, so let's go back to this thing here. So we're looking at making sure the 3D view and floor plan are set to the correct scale, visual style, detail level, and in the case of the 3D view, to the desired orientation. You might wish to duplicate 3D view to create a new sheet. The reason we do that is this. If we look at the, actually there's one already in here for this one, but let me just delete that one. Just delete that for a minute. So if you got your normal 3D view, which gets created with this thing here, and so as you can see from here, I was mucking around with this, didn't I? I extended that past and yeah, okay. That was from the previous mucking around, but let me just fix that up before we go any further. Yeah, that shouldn't be 15, that should be 13190. Sorry about that. Okay, so look at it in 3D, hey. Yeah, anyway, don't worry about this. This panel's been mucked up, whatever. Anyway, let's go to here and look at the. So yeah, the reason you want to do, like, if I go to 3D, it looks a bit like that. I haven't got the roof on because I want to look at stuff in here, right? So this is my working 3D view, really. So if I want to print one out, I want to not have it as my working view. So what we usually do is just pick this one up and right click, duplicate, like we did with the architectural plan, and we have a new one, and this one here will be, if I rename it, for example, to 3D view. Right, that's the name it's going to get when it goes on the sheet. All right. So here now I can go to VV. Oops, click in here first, VV, and go to RO for roof or roads. Okay, turn the roof on, and that's how it's going to look. I might want to make it more like the PDF, that orientation. All right. Now, if I change the orientation, it will change it on the sheet. So I've got to keep it to what this one is. All right. So that's how I want it. That's how it's going to stay. And if I want to change anything, I'll, around here, I can just play with this one here, which is my other one. All right. So that's the one that's going to go on the sheet. So that's been fixed up. The other thing you've got to look at is how big it is. You might want to change the scale. You want to change the way it looks. All right. Same with this ones here. Now, what we need to do here, things that are not really in your instructions, because then it automatically goes to between step 1 and step 2, there's a whole lot of stuff you need to do to get it right. All right. So there's something in here that's not there, although it is in the structural set of notes. But unfortunately, we're doing it's the other way around. We're doing the architectural first, so we need to know that now. So let's have a look at that. Basically, if I let's go to step 2 first, which is basically bringing the sheet in first, and then you can see what I mean about this. We should be doing some formatting here. If I go down to the sheets, there's an A1 in here. I know it's an A1 because it's probably says it somewhere, but I just know it is. Anyway, this is an A1. It's a big sheet, basically, and it's not the one we want. We want an A3. So if I go here, right click. So go on the sheet sort, right click, new sheet. Yeah, there you go. I know it's AO because it's the only one there. Actually, it's AO, not A1. So it's even bigger than A1. It's double A1. So what I want to do is load some in. It will take me to the Australian section. Go down to title blocks and bring in A3. And select A3 and go OK. And this is what we get. The Autodesk Revit one. Perfect. Alright, so if you double click on here, it will take you into the editing of the sheet actually. So you don't really want to go in here because if you do go in there accidentally, which will happen, just close this without saving it, alright? But in theory, you can delete stuff from here and change it and make your own, alright? But I won't do anything. No, I don't want to save that. So this is the A3. I'll talk about how to fill this in later. So let's go to drag air architectural, which we said has got to go on here. There it is. Click it there. Beautiful. Actually, that's not too bad. It's pretty constrained. I might have already done that bit, so that might be. Let me just have a look why it's like that. Let's have a look at bring the 3D view in. That's pretty good as well. So I think this is one we might have fixed up earlier, but I'll talk to you what the story is. Let's bring level 1 in. I just want to find one that's huge. Yeah, this level 1, for example, it's got a whole lot of stuff around it, like that. And the reason this one hasn't got all the stuff around it is because we went earlier on because we followed the instructions and turned off the little elevation symbols. We turned off that, so it automatically constrained it. But let's go back and visit. I'll delete this. This is pretty constrained, although it has got this thing around it, around the elevations. Let me just go around the dimensions. Just go down here for a minute. What you need to do to constrain it even more, possibly, we'll have a look, is go down to the extents and click on the edit. We've done this before anyway. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Click on the put the ticks here. All 3 of them. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now if I click on here, in fact it can be constrained a bit more. If I click on here, I can drag this little thing in here. This is the building crop. Alright. So there, go up to there. If I went any more in, I'm losing half of my building. Right. I've also lost my dimensions over here. But I might be able to get those back. I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to because here they are. All right. So see, I can have Y is my building gone and dimensions are there. That's because this is the annotation crop for any notes and dimensions. So I can actually control how much of the dimensions I see, for example, or the notes. So I can go back a bit. Might be able to get a lot of in. See, like that. I can crop those as well as a building. So that's a separate process, like a separate window for it. So I could make this bigger so I can get my building in, for example. Alright, so it's best to have this as tight as possible to the building. So we could probably make it better like that. Alright, like that. And down here. Yeah, these are ones I practice. I don't really need these other dimensions in, but anyway. These are just the practice ones. Right, so that's alright, This can be probably in a bit more and so on. You can just tweak it like that. Don't worry about all these, they're all wrong. Okay. So the process of actually getting it right. And of course, if your scale is wrong, you have to change the scale here and then right. The scale is fine. So if I go back and have a look which is probably not much now, into here, and you can right click here and rename this as well. For example, it can be called, I think at the end of it we'll call it A1 architectural or something like that. Okay. All right. So what have we got? Not too different really, because I've got the oh, here you go. What you can see here now, which to the trained eye you can't see it, not the untrained eye I mean. So you can see here the outline. That's like your little viewport in AutoCAD. It's like showing. So that's going to print out. You don't want to do that. So what you can do is double click in here one way, or go back to your view and just turn off those ticks. So if I take it this way, double click in here, I'm in the viewport now, which means I can change things as if I am in the architectural plane, as if, but I'm in the sheet still. Go down here. Now we'll turn off this and we'll turn off that, not the top one, right? And then that disappears. All right. Now, how do we get out of this view? Well, so discovered recently in 2015. Finally, they fixed it. You can double click outside the viewport, like you do in AutoCAD, and take you back to the sheet. But you can't always do that because sometimes you zoom too far in here, and you can't. There's nothing around it. You can click outside on the sheet. So the way to do it is to right click and deactivate view. Now you come out of the view and you're on the sheet. All right. Okay, so that's the procedure. Now this this thing here may be too big, too small. You might want to change the scale to, I don't know, maybe to say 1:75 or something. How do you create a new scale? I actually don't know what it should be, but if we create a new scale, 1:50, so 75 might be too big. Make it 1:150. All right. So if we do that, we'll go to custom, and we'll just go 150. Bit better than AutoCAD actually. Yeah, that'll make it a bit smaller. Yeah. If I OK that. All right. So nothing really changes here, but if I go to my thing here, that becomes a bit smaller, for example. All right. So that's how you can do custom scales. All right. The other thing is, while I clicked on, if I want to move this, I click on it, and then it just gives me the little arrows that I can move it like that. But what if I want to make it smaller? Well, it doesn't make too much sense, but I escape, click on the viewport, and it gives me these little dots here, or that dot, and I can just make that a bit smaller by dragging it back. All right, so you find that if I click on there, I can get it to drag back. If I want to move it, escape, and I just click on here and just drag it over. All right, if I wanted to bring in my elevation, actually I might want to bring the whole lot over this way a bit. Alright, if I want to bring my elevation, squeeze it in here, for example. Let me just check my elevation first. So if I bring the south elevation, you've got to go through and fix these things up. So if I go to down to here, make sure you haven't got anything highlighted. Just put these on, like that, and then just crop this thing right up to the building. Ooh, not too far in. I want to zoom in. Right. There's no notes on here, so I might as well bring this back a bit. And this back in here. Those levels I've pulled in a bit as well, automatically. Alright. It's down. Alright, so that's that. If you remember now, you should just take these two ticks off, so as you're doing it later. Scale is alright. Maybe I should change this to fine. For example, you might want to make it colored. It's not in the example in here, but you might want to make it shaded or realistic even, if you really want to. Not recommend it, but anyhow, it doesn't look that good, does it? So let's go to just shade it. That would do, for example. All right, so if I go to here now, I can bring that south elevation and just drop it here. Now, if I see, usually it'll, there you go. If we found the label on the bottom and it just lines it up, see the little blue dash? So I lined that up, drop it in there, and okay, you can see that I've got a bit of extra room over here. I could probably muck around with that a bit more. So I'll go back here, and again have to, it's a bit lengthy, but I've got like Just maybe drag this back a bit maybe now. The actual references there, the ground floor, even here. Just drag one and drags both. Yeah, maybe go to about there. Alright, so that gives us a bit more there. Any more of that we can do? No. How come it's it's missing one. This one, the Annotation Crop is not on. Okay, that's alright. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think we'll be right. Just take that off. Go back to the. It's a bit of mucking around, you know. Okay, so that's a bit better. I can maybe just push it back a bit so get it in. All right. So now again, as I said, maybe we'll drag. Ooh, I want to move this across. So click once, click again, and just drag that only. All right. So and then click on here and drag that back. So whatever it says over here is what the label is here, by the way. So that's that. Notice it doesn't put a scale on here. The other thing is over here, scales are usually scale 1:100. There you go. But if I put another one at 1:10, it will just say as shown on there automatically for me. I didn't actually do that. Just read it off. It just knows. All right. So that's basically what we're putting on there. Alright, so what it's saying, if we look at step 4 here, step 4 is go in and add the name for the owner, the project name, the project number, date, drawn, whatever, checked. And also name the sheet here. Once you insert the sheet, go to the project browser and rename it to be that. Alright, so let's go to the project browser. So if we go to Revit, so we'll go rename, so it's A01 and we'll call it architectural, like that, and just puts that name in here. There it is in there. Alright, so the rest really you can the owner, you can just double click on there and just call it whatever. Right, so that project name, maybe my house, whatever you want to call it. And what else do we have? We have the project number, the date, date, project number. You can make some number, A00010, whatever you want to call it. And the date might be, for example, you just put in September 2014, something like that. Author AV, checked by AV, something like that. Alright, so that's what you put in there. Now a lot of this stuff can also be inputted automatically in the from the manage project information, and that's another thing that we want to look at a bit later on. But basically, because I put stuff in here, you just now put a lot of that stuff back into the appropriate fields here, which means if I put another, create another sheet somewhere and it has those same fields like owner, date, whatever, it will automatically fill them in for me. Alright, those things. All right. You can even put the project address, but really there's no address on here, so it's not going to pick it up anyway. All right, so our little sheet hasn't got those, let's say in AutoCAD terms, attributes. All right. So that's that. And the final thing is to print it to XPS, and then we can go. All right, I'm going to have to split the file. It's getting a bit big. But anyway, it's printing to XPS is basically going to the big R here, or you can print from there anyway. Just print. And just click here. Now the XPS document writer is a standard Windows document writer, so just pick that. And just note where it's going. It's going wherever I set it to go, but you can put it anywhere you like. I'll put it under my documents, for example. Save that, and then under printer setup, here you go. Okay, so under printer setup, make sure you got the right sheet. So it's A3. We want A3. What else do we need to worry about? Vector processing, yeah, but it'll probably change it to raster anyway, and that's about it. Really, all that should be right, and just go OK. It's not too painful. Go OK. It says the file, whatever, already exists. Do you want to replace it? I must have it already there. That's right. Yes. Then we'll come up and say Revit will use raster printing because this view uses shading, all right, shadows and that sort of thing. So obviously he wants to do that. Even though I said do vector, it's going to go back to raster. So we can't argue with that. That's fine. So if I go back to here and go to my documents, date modified, the top maybe. Here's the design, which I've done, and it looks like that. Okay, so not quite what I want you to end up, but you know, just an example. All right. Thank you.